Welcome back to NewZeroland. I have a microphone air pump for my unicycle tires. Anyway, if you saw my last video, the Zero exploded. That's right, the bike that started this whole channel is no more. I think we should have a moment of silence. Anyway, what's gonna happen now? Is this NewZeroland? And what's this mystery bike underneath the sheet behind me? I told you guys you'd never guess what it is, and you still won't. You can leave in a comment what you think it is. You're gonna be wrong. Before I get to that though, let's bring in Smiley Jen. Hi.
Hello there.
So in this video, we're gonna talk about all of the bikes we've ever owned, how we got into motorcycle riding, how we got into electric bikes, and what is underneath this sheet. Welcome back. So, I feel like a lot of people that watch this channel assume that we've only ridden electric motorcycles. I mean, there was a Triumph and a Hyosung, but we didn't start out with electric motorcycles. We're not like missing out on the whole gas bike thing. That's how we started.
Yeah.
So, what was your first bike?
My first bike was a 1992 Suzuki GS500E. They had a fairing on the front. It was a Targa fairing.
That was the one you crashed?
It was the one where a truck cut me off.
Do you want to tell that story? I find it a really cool story.
Yeah, I was splitting lanes on my way to work, and maybe I was going too fast. I don't think I was going too fast, but obviously fast enough to where when the guy cut me off, I rear-ended him. And then I flipped over my handlebars and landed in the bed of the pickup truck.
But so the truck didn't realize or didn't stop or something, right?
Nah, he was fine. He was like still going in traffic. And then I was like knocked on the window. I'm like, hi!
Probably
He's
freaked
like,
him out.
oh my god!
So then that was a reason to get another bike, right?
Yeah.
So what was your next bike?
My next bike was a 2006 SV650S.
Was that the one that you kept for 9 years?
I had it for 9 years. It was great. I bought it in April. End of April, I think it was, and then March or May or June, that's when I took it to the track. So it was a great time. I put 3,000 miles on it in my first month because I was like, oh, I've got a big boy bike now. It was 650, it's a V-twin, and it kept up with all my friends, and I wasn't on this little 500 anymore.
And you did 6 track days?
I think so.
Jen was fast.
I know it's not that fast. I was probably the slowest at the track.
And then you owned other bikes.
Yeah.
During your SV650 time.
Yeah, so another SV. And then I worked at a dental office, and one of the patients there was like, yep, I'm selling my ex's, because I think it was a 2006 Kawasaki Z750S. It's got 8 miles on it. Like, all right.
Basically brand new.
Yeah. So 8 miles, $2,000. I was like, all right, I'll take it. And because his ex was short, it was great for me, and then I taught a few friends how to ride on it because
as you do.
It was great.
And that was, you owned 4 bikes in California?
Yep.
Okay.
Just
so then
4.
I also only owned 4 bikes in California, all gas powered. Before the Zero. I guess I bought the Zero in California, but my first bike was a 1996 Suzuki Katana. It was also a 650.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was yellow. Had the banana seat and the banana color, and I covered it with stickers. Yeah, that was the bike I kind of learned on. I learned on my dad's. He had an XR 650R Honda dirt bike, dual sport, that he would do wheelies on. I did not do wheelies, but I kind of practiced on that, got my license, and then got the Katana. The bike I bought was not really running correctly. Like the carbs needed to be cleaned or rejetted or whatever. Carbs are stupid.
I love
anyway.
carbs. Pizza.
Yeah, so we got it running. It kind of ran okay, but it was always like burning oil, and it smelled terrible, and it was the worst. And so one of my friends had a friend who had an R6, a 2005 R6 Raven.
Ooh la la.
R6S, I guess, the street one, whatever it was. Anyway, it was black, and it was awesome, and so I bought that, and I still had no idea how to ride. I would go ride with Jen. See, that's the thing, right? So we went to high school together, that's where we met, but the only thing that kept us in contact over the years after high school was going on motorcycle rides. And so we meet up every once in a while, go on rides, and met some of her biker friends, and we'd go out, enjoy the twisties and stuff, and Jen was always faster than me. And so, so what happened to my R6? I tried to teach my roommate how to ride a motorcycle, and you don't do that on an R6. That's on a super sport.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody who knows nothing about motorcycles.
No, when I started riding, and most of my friends were already riding, I was like, what should I get as my first bike? They're like, nothing that ends in an R or an S or double R. I'm like,
Yeah, I think we need to explain that in the States, once you get your license, you can just buy whatever you want.
Yeah, you can buy a
Same
liter
with-
bike if you want.
Yeah, you could buy a Hayabusa Turbo if you want, or whatever. Yeah, so I let my flatmate ride the bike, and he basically let the clutch out as he's revving it, and it did a wheelie immediately, and he landed, and his throttle hand, he gripped even harder, and so the throttle went full throttle straight into like a post about this high, like a wooden, basically a tree trunk in a parking lot. Did a front flip over, landed with his back on the post. He's okay, the bike was not. As I was rebuilding the bike, I decided, well, I'm gonna, since all these like the fairing pieces were cracked, I'm gonna replace them with carbon fiber, because it's just a carbon fiber everything. It wasn't lighter, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It looks cooler, and so that's what I did. And then I don't know, like I think I had to sell it because I was moving to Australia. Same as the car story, I sold a lot of stuff to go to Australia, and then when I came back from Australia, we got together because motorcycles kept us together. Cling! And actually, you found my next bike, which was the Triumph Daytona. It was a 2000 something. I'll put it on the screen. It was great. It was red. Oh. It was a track bike, which it was basically unrideable on the street.
I could not ride it.
Like any little bump would just throw the rear end out, so you're oversteering and like correcting, and it would like, it was really bad, but it was beautiful, and the engine was amazing. And so I just decided that why am I fighting this whole sport bike thing? I should just get a naked bike and like a upright style. And so I bought a 2012, my first brand new vehicle. It was a brand new 2012 Ducati Streetfighter 848. We did a huge road trip, 10-day road trip up to Vancouver, up the Pacific Coast Highway on your SV and my Ducati, and it was just great. But unfortunately that bike's engine was objectively terrible, like all Ducati engines. And so eventually I sold it a couple years later because we moved to New Zealand and got more bikes. So transition into New Zealand's bike list. So the first bike we got here was an R6, another 2005, I think 2005, yeah.
And it was lowered, so it was great for me, except the kickstand was not adjusted. So
that's the thing, right? When you lower a bike, it's the center of balance or whatever is off. So
it doesn't lean as much, it stays more upright on the kickstand.
Yeah.
The kickstand doesn't change.
So unfortunately, in the city, one day Jen parked it, and Wellington is notoriously hilly, kind of like San Francisco, and it's also really windy, and so it's just a bad recipe for parking motorbikes. And the R6 fell over onto two other bikes, so sadly,
I left them all notes.
Yeah, so we did the whole right thing with insurance and stuff, but we lost the bike basically. So
I had like 75,000 kilometers on it.
It did, yeah, it was pretty old. So anyway, even before that whole thing happened with the R6, we got the Zero, which unfortunately single tier exploded in the last video, as you saw. So
good thing we're recovered and you're wearing all your gear.
Yeah, totally
at
fine.
GAT.
Totally fine. We're both fine. Thanks for asking. And the Zero lasted up until the last video. 6 years.
It was great. It was excellent. It was like my daily commuter to work. I know some of you guys have seen it.
So yeah, that was our first entrance into the electric world, and kind of it ruined us because it was so good. And so
it's like we even test rode electric bikes before deciding.
Yeah, that's right. In 2012, we rode 2012 Zeros, and they
Model
were
S or X.
there was an S and a DS. There's photos of us riding the Zeros back in 2012. They
It's
were
10 years ago now.
wow. So 10 years ago, we rode our first electric motorcycles. Congrats.
Yes.
They were not really motorcycles.
No.
They were pretty bad.
They were powerful scooters.
Yeah, the speed wasn't very good. The range wasn't very good. Kind of felt like a bicycle. But, yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was a good experience. But now, I mean, yeah, like, Zeros have come so far, and electric motorcycles in general have come so far.
Is that what's under
They
here?
come with their own sheets. Yeah, so what? The next bike was Zero DSR 2016. I got it from Panero,
Max.
the guy that, yeah, Max, the guy that always comments first, Panero. I bought his bike. He shipped it all the way from the States to New Zealand, and then I sold that to Jez, who still rides it and still loves it. He's taking it off road and stuff. Anyway, yeah, well, I sold that because I wanted to get the Ego, the Energica Ego, which was amazing. I only kept it for a year, but more on that later. There's a reason that I sold that bike. It was to get this bike. Yeah. Remember when I said in that video, I'm selling the Energica for something else. Something exciting. Yeah, well here it is. And so that's, you know, it'll all make sense soon. Very soon. And then after that, well no, actually before that, sorry,
Yeah.
the Hyosung.
Because we would need to go pick up the Ego.
That's right. So we bought a Hyosung 250, the GD250N.
GD or GN?
GN250D? No, GD250N. Yeah, I don't know.
GN?
I'll
Not
look it
GT?
up. Yeah.
Something 250N.
Yeah, anyway. Why, what is wrong with the names of
What do
motorcycles?
these acronyms mean?
Good
Tomorrow.
250 never. So anyway, we two-upped on this little Hyosung 250 all the way from Wellington up to Auckland in freezing cold, foggy weather.
I thought I was gonna die.
We almost died, but it was totally worth it because we picked up the Energica and did a whole real road trip, and we rode back and it was great.
I saw a possum.
Jenn saw a possum. And then the next bike that we bought was the Triumph, I guess.
Yep, because
Yeah.
we were gonna go on the South Island road trip.
Yeah, for our big South Island road trip. We got the Triumph Street Triple.
675.
Yeah. Great bike. Did not run well at all. But so the problem with the gas bike was the electrical system, but also the gas engine and also the gas. There was a problem with that bike that we didn't want to fix, and so I sold it to somebody, and on his ride home, he didn't make it home. Like, the bike died on him, and he just had to leave it in town on his way.
And we never heard from him again.
No, we didn't. So I'm assuming he's okay, and I'm assuming he got the bike the next day or something. Not our problem. But yeah, so like we were chatting about our whole like history of bikes that we've owned, and it's about what? How many? I'll put the number on the screen, the tally of all the bikes that we've owned, and it's kind of like not just talking about the bikes that we've owned, but talking about our relationship, because it's like riding is what kept us together all these years, like meeting up for rides when we were just friends, and then now that we're married, now we both have to have bikes together, which is why there's this behind us, because the Zero exploding couldn't stop us from more rides. Like, you always have to own a bike. Like, always, you always have to have a bike. So,
Or a unicycle.
well, we have many unicycles.
I can't ride them anyways.
Okay, Jenn needs unicycle lessons.
I could just ride on the back of yours.
This is gonna be weird. So, hope you guys enjoyed our little trip down memory lane and our list of motorcycles, our history of riding, and our history of our relationship with motorcycles. I'm not going to unveil this bike today. I'm sorry. Another cliffhanger. Well, actually, no. Do you want to see it?
Wait,
you
he's
wanna see
under
the bike?
there.
Okay. I guess I'm going to unveil it. All right. You guys take a guess. What do you think it is? Real quick. Leave me a comment and then press play, okay? Pause. Okay, unpause. Ready?
Oh, no! Oh, wait, I'm sitting too long.
Alright, camera angle change. Let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What do you think?
What is it?
Yes! Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.